Okay, guys. Hello to everybody and heartily welcome to the Seventh Bridge meeting. And for those who don't know me yet, my name is Christel Wagner, and I'm living in Germany in a small town called Königstein. It's very close to Frankfurt. I studied history of art and archaeology, and now I'm a gallerist, and I have a small gallery in the center of Frankfurt. Since 2010, I'm working in conscientiology as a volunteer in different areas, but mainly in the field of translation. And in 2016, I finished my training as a teacher in conscientiology. Since a short time ago, I'm now the coordinator of translation relating to Germany. But now I think I've talked enough of myself. Here are some outlines of our program of today. We'll have a 30-minute lecture. Afterwards, we got about 50 minutes for questions and a debate and discussions. And finally, we'll do about 10 minutes exercise with energies. And as Paulo said, the meeting will be recorded. Our speaker of today is João Ricardo Yamasita. Thanks a lot, João, for being here and taking your time. João is a Brazilian doctor and he works with integrative medicine. And he will talk about the relation about inflammation processes, toxins, existential program, and intrusions. I'm really curious to hear your speech, João. And before you will start now, I would like to remind everybody to close the micro when not speaking. So if you're ready, João, feel free to start. I will give you, if you want, a hint after 30 minutes. Okay? So
okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Christel. Well, at first, I would like to thank you, all of you that have invited me to give me this opportunity to share my knowings and the informations that I think they are important. And I would like to congratulate this initiative of Isaac of promoting connection between many different people from many different countries all abroad the world. Well, and I would like to tell about my personal history at first. Well, I knew conscientiology in 1989 after a long journey, after a period that I went through a personal spiritual healing. I had a great fever, very high fever, and so I began to pray. And in about 10 minutes, I was feeling so great, so well-being state that it was a very strong impact for me, and that shook my mind. And so I began a search for the history about the real science beyond physical dimension only, because for me until that time we were only our bodies, and the physical dimension was the only dimension that existed. After that, I began to look for what is the explanation of that, and I finally knew Professor Valdo Vieira in 1989, and it was then I decided to study medicine. I was studying engineering for 4 years, and at that time I had decided to study medicine to have a more essential profession, even before I knew Professor Valdo Vieira. And so I knew conscientiology before studying medicine. And when I studied medicine, I knew that medicine was working only with the physical body. The explanations were very few yet. We studied diseases, but we didn't know conventional medicine doesn't know how diseases come from, and the treatments are very symptomatic only. And so I continued studying conscienciology, and in 1993 I became a volunteer, and I am volunteer since now. After that, after medicine, I studied homeopathy, acupuncture, and many other therapies. And now we call it integrative medicine. That is the medicine that integrates different uh, uh, different knowledge about medicine. Integrative medicine integrates natural therapies, advanced sciences about medicine, and it integrates also mind, body, the holosoma, as we know it. So it's a more responsible medicine, I think. Well, and we know that all of us have an existential program. This existential program is full of challenges. We are in a continuous overcoming. We overcome a stage and another, and we must be with a very very good performance in our physical, energetical, emotional, and cognitive status. And sometimes, if we don't have a perfect health, status of health, we may lose some very important opportunities. And the opportunity, it may depend on our status of health, emotional, or of our different organs, the central nervous system, and the status of health may vary from an optimum health, as we see in the image, or in a declining health. Even though many times we cannot see the difference where is our status health. Well, UNICIN, the Union of International Consciocentric Institutions, has made a meeting with some doctors last year, and they were very worried about the fact that many volunteers were getting sick and they were going away, and many people were having uh, health problems. And they asked, is there an increase of incidence of diseases? For me, the answer is clear. The diseases of civilization are increasing very much. We can see this in very many diseases like autism. I am here in Salvador now doing a course about integrative medicine about autism. Alzheimer is also a disease that we can see clearly that is having a very great incidence. Cancer, psychiatric diseases, all of them are increasing too much, and for many different reasons. And that's why we call it the disease of civilization. That's with the modern life, we are more exposed to many different things that are making us sick. Toxins, negative emotions, electromagnetic fields, and it's interfering with directly on our health. Well, very now that we live in a polluted world, and this is the burden of the of this. This is the cost of a modern life. Well, we live in the limits of many uh, different things. We are in the limits of toxicity of the planet. We are exposed daily to toxic metals, pesticides, the air, the food, the hormones, industrialized food. Everything may be intoxicating us, even the food. we are exposed to genetic modified organisms, foods, plants, and also each time more electromagnetic fields. All of this make to live in the 21st century a challenge to all of us. Beyond our uh, beyond our our existential program, we have the challenge to keep our health in an optimal stage. Well, abroad the world is happening a silent level revolution in medicine. Because despite technological medicine, advanced medicine, diseases are augmenting. And treatment of one disease many times causes more other diseases. And the person may become in a descending spiral of disease. In last decades, after people perceive that, it's happening an increase for demand for complementary medicine, for the integrative medicine. What are the reasons? The limitation of results, the side effects of medication, of treatments, and the philosophy. People are searching for a more human medicine. Well, and that's what integrative medicine comes to feel. Uh, it proposes a medicine that integrates natural therapies with advanced knowledge of science, integrating emotional, cognitive, social, epigenetic, energetical, and spiritual factors, considering that each person is a different person, is an individual person in a holistic manner. Well, why conventional medicine is failing? Because natural substances may not be patented, and investments on they are making investments on synthetic medications. These are anti-natural ways of treatment. So treatments does not go to the root of the causes of diseases, just to the symptoms, to the consequences. The objective of the big industries are the profits on diseases. Well, let me show you about the tree of the functional medicine. It's an analogy to explain how medicine works. Here, over the tree, we have the leaves and the branches. Conventional medicine tends to look only about the symptoms, the diseases, and they make the diagnosis, and each diagnosis has a different treatment. Well, but they don't understand what are the roots, the mechanism that leads to the disease. That's why it's functional medicine came to feel. In order to keep a tree healthy, you need to support the most basic essential elements first, the foundations, the roots and soil. If anything of this here is not okay, it generates an inflammation, the mechanism of all disease. Well, here is another tree of the functional medicine. Conventional medicine works on the disease model. They work only on this side of the tree. There are some core dysfunctions. Inflammation is the main that we are referring here. There are many other mechanisms, but inflammation is common to all of them. And there are many root causes: environmental stress, toxins, diet, nutrients, genetic predispositions. It's now we know that only about 5% of the influence of diseases is genetic predispositions. So ambiental, the lifestyle, like exercise, low-grade infections, physical trauma, emotional traumas, beliefs and attitudes are at the root causes and generates many of these core dysfunctions, inflammation, and the disease are the consequences of all these core dysfunctions. Well, and recent discovery of the last scientific researches is that inflammation is at the root of the most diseases, most chronic diseases. That's why we are here. Well, acute inflammation is very important for the progressive healing. If you have a fever, a disease, an acute disease, it may be a trauma, a fever, an infection. The acute inflammation is necessary to lead to the healing. But the problem is when inflammation goes to a progress destruction. When the disease is not more acute, it's chronic, and it can take to the development of many diseases in the several parts of our bodies. An example is this draft, where we see the chronic inflammation causing neurological disorders like Alzheimer, Huntington's chorea, dementia, Parkinson's, other neurodevelopmental disorders like autism, chronic inflammatory disorders in the irritable bowel disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, pancreatitis, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, rheumatoid diseases, diabetic, metabolic disorders, chronic pain disorders like fibromyalgia, neuropathy, cancer. Many cancers are related to chronic inflammation. Mental health disorders like depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and even cardiovascular diseases like stroke, heart failure, myocardial infarction, atherosclerosis. All of them have the same mechanism of inflammation. Well, I would like to say that if somebody has any doubts, would like to make some question, stay comfortable for that. Well, here we see an atherosclerosis progression. There are now many biomarkers that can show that inflammation is present at each stage of the progression of the disease. Since the beginning, when it begins to have, the person begins to have high blood pressure, until the development of the arteriosclerosis, until the final event of myocardial infarction, where the inflammation is present and causes the infarction. So, what causes the infarction, the cardiovascular disease, and strokes, is not the cholesterol, as many think. Many doctors still think that. What causes the cardiovascular diseases is the inflammation on the cholesterol. If there is no inflammation, the cholesterol is not so bad. Talking about cancer, inflammation is present in each stage of the tumor development, since the cell transformation, the primary growth, and even in the metastasis. It begins with several causes, but after initiation, it can progress and aggravate every stage of the cancer. Well, this is what scientists are saying now. It's now well established that the induction of inflammation by bacterial and viral infections increases cancer risk. Various types of immune and inflammatory cells are frequently present within tumors. Chronic inflammation increases cancer risk. Inflammation impacts every single step of tumorigenesis, from initiation through tumor promotion, all the way to metastatic progression. Numerous studies suggest that inflammation is likely to have an important role in bladder carcinogenesis. Well, and I would like to call the attention for this draft. This is what occurs in the central nervous system, inflammation in central nervous system. Here we have the circulation, an artery, where peripheral inflammatory mediators come to the brain, and they activate the microglia. Microglia is a cell of the immune system. This activating of the microglia initiates a very complex reaction of inflammation inside the brain. One of them, we will explain soon, is the mechanism of tryptophan. I will explain it in details in the next slide. Another is that it activates the glutamate receptors. Glutamate is very excitatory neurotransmitter, and it makes the person stay more irritable, more agitated, and it causes also excessive entrance of calcium inside the neurons. And this excessive entrance of calcium may lead to liberation of free radicals and neuron death. The neuron death is responsible for many diseases of neurodegenerative disease, like we said before, Alzheimer, Parkinson, anxiety, depression, psychotic disorders. So it was a real new information for all of us doctors and for population that anxiety may be the cause of inflammation may be the cause of anxiety and depression. Until now, people used to think that anxiety and depression are emotional problems. Yes, it has its emotional components, but many people sometimes have the inflammation augmenting their emotional problems. And if inflammation is not resolved, it will be very much worse along the time. Well, now I would like to explain how the inflammation affects our wellness. Well, tryptophan is an amino acid inside the brain. It is converted to serotonin, and serotonin is converted to melatonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that makes us feel well, feel happy, feel peace. And if it's converted to melatonin, that is the hormone or neurotransmitter also, that makes us detoxify our whole body, detoxify our feelings, our thoughts, our brain. It's called the hormone of spirituality, or maybe also for us, the hormone of parapsychism. And it promotes a good sleep during the night. Well, but when there is inflammation inside the body, it's activated this enzyme, indolamina deoxidase, and tryptophan is not converted to serotonin. It's converted to there's another pathway leading to quinolinic acid. It's a neurotoxic substance. Quinolinic acid activates glutamate, as I said before, and this increase of glutamate makes the person stay more irritable, more agitated, and less peaceful, and it can lead also to neuron death through the oxidative stress. So we can see in this slide, when there is inflammation, the person has less peace, less happiness, less wellness, and the person has more irritability, has insomnia, diseases, pain, because central nervous system regulates the whole body. And we all know that serotonin and melatonin are very important for our health. Until now, I would like to ask some, if is it okay for all you? If you have some question, take comfortable for that. Well, this is an important mechanism for us in our existential program.
Yamasita,
Hello.
Lisa has a question.
Hi, Paulo.
Hi, Yamasita. Hi.
Okay.
About the melatonin, most of people use melatonin with some problem with jet lag and etc. I use melatonin usually in my life to help me to have more relaxing and help me to have some experience. Do you, as a doctor, how your point of view about the use of melatonin? Here in Brazil, it's not legal, right? Outside of Brazil, we use melatonin as medication, no problem at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I understand. Yes, this is an example of how melatonin promotes peaceful states. It makes us have a good night of sleep. It promotes also parapsychism. We have many people say that when they take melatonin, they have experiences like vivid dreams. We could say that maybe they are having lucid projections. So melatonin may really lead the person to have these experiences. Well, in Brazil, we have a different situation because the organ that regulates that, they have the tendency to prohibit every natural medication or supplements. They have the tendency to approve what is synthetic medications, and they don't allow natural medication or supplements to enter Brazil. And melatonin is a great example of that because it has very few collateral effects. It makes has many different mechanisms of action. It's used even in the treatment of cancer, and it promotes wellness. So I think the use of melatonin uh, wouldn't be so dangerous like they used to say. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
So that is the reason why I think inflammation has much to do with with our soul sins, our behavior, our health, our mental health. Because if you have inflammation, sometimes you see a small problem, but if there is inflammation in your brain, that small problem may look very great, and a person may have an emotional problem because something that she could lead to that problem easily, but inflammation makes the mind heavy or disturbed. So the person cannot think clearly, and it may be a source of intrusion. Well, but where does inflammation come from? Inflammation may act on every part of the body, but where does it come from? Well, 90%, more than 90% of the inflammation comes from the gut, our gut. Nowadays, the importance of the gut on our brain, in our brain to our gut, is increasingly being more considered. One thing affects another. Our brain, our thoughts, our behavior affects our physiology of the intestines, of the guts. The gut, with its bacteria and its motility, its hormones and vitamins, affects our brain. It's a natural discovery that has been discovered in the last years. They are saying that, are we really so human? Because they discovered that we have 100 trillion bacteria inside us, 10 times more bacteria than ourselves. Many say that, are we only 10% human? Do bacteria live inside us, or we live inside a microbiome? Microbiome is the name of the bacteria, the total bacteria inside us. This bacteria can influence our humor states, our physiology, our health and behavior. It can promote desire to do something, to eat something, and it can promote aggressivity, thoughts, feelings. So our health depends much on this equilibrium, between this balance between benefic bacteria and pathogenic bacteria. If there is this balance with more pathogenic bacteria than beneficial bacteria, we have a gut dysbiosis. Dysbiosis is the name of this balance between pathogenic bacteria comparing to benefic bacteria. And they may act like micro-intruders or micro-helpers. If we have benefic bacteria, we have them like micro-helpers. They can promote our health, can promote mental and central nervous system perfect, or they may be micro-intruders generating inflammation and disturbing our physical body. So
a question.
Okay.
What is dysbiosis? Dysbiosis, what is this? Good dysbiosis.
Gut is the name of gut is our intestines, and dysbiosis is this balance between benefic bacteria and pathogenic bacteria inside our guts. We have 100 trillion bacteria, but sometimes we have pathogenic bacteria like Clostridium or Candida and other bacteria that can produce neurotoxins and other toxins to our body. And so they are not benefic. They don't produce vitamins or hormones like the benefic bacteria. We must have more benefic bacteria than the pathogenic microbes in our intestines. In our guts, we have feces. Feces are full of toxins and other bacteria. I'll try to explain it in the next slide, how it can affect our health. Well, here is a slide that shows the intestinal mucosa, the gut mucosa. Well, our skin has several layers of cells. It makes our skins feel permeable to many things. But since our mouth until our anus, we have the mucosa. The mucosa is constituted by one single cell layer. It's very permeable. It's this in this way because it must let the nutrients enter our body through the mucosa. In our guts, in our intestines, we have these intestinal mucosal cells that they are very tightly united. They are united through these tight junctions that I'm showing here. Now it's called zonulin and occlusin. These tight junctions must only open to let nutrients, to let good things to enter our bloodstream. Here is an artery in the bloodstream. Here it would be the intestine, the feces. But there are many things that can cause the breach, the disruptor of the tight junctions. Here we have a tight junction that is damaged and it's opened. And what can cause this opening of this tight junction? Well, the main thing that can cause this opening, abnormally opening, is the gluten, dairy, milk, and other dairies, stress, toxins, well, anti-inflammatory medications, dysbiosis, like I said before, industrialized food, pesticides, and other toxins. When occur this opening
sorry,
of the
for interrupting
okay.
you, just as promised in my little speech at the beginning, this 30 minutes are over, but I would suggest, if the others agree, it's so interesting what you tell us, that we give a little more time to finish you. Yeah, would this be okay for everyone? Yeah, okay, thank you and sorry.
Okay, I will try to finish soon. Well, when there is this opening of the tight junctions, it can enter the blood circulation, gluten, microorganisms, toxins that come from the feces of the intestine, of the gut. It enters our blood circulation, activating an immune reaction. And it causes many other, it has many other consequences. It can cause nutrient malabsorption because nutrients are malabsorbed. It can cause autoimmune diseases like thyroid problems, like lupus erythematosus systemic. It can cause food allergies or food intolerances, and it can breach the blood-brain barrier, affecting our central nervous system, like I said before, and causing many diseases in our brain. And it can cause systemic inflammation in our arteries, in the whole body. So it's the mechanism that causes many of the known diseases that we can have in our lives without suspecting. In an unsuspected way, we can have diseases in other parts of our body, rhinitis, sinusitis, headaches, stomach problems, hepatitis, caused by this inflammation, caused by the entrance of toxins, bacteria, heavy metals in our body. So that's what I had to tell you. I think this is a very important mechanism that makes us sick. It's a discovery of the last years of science. Many doctors know nothing about that. Even I, when I knew this information some years ago, it was very impacting for me. And I knew that all of us doctors, conventional doctors, we didn't know anything about that. And it's a real surprise, and it will cause a real revolution in our medicine knowledge. I think that all of us must be knowing about this, and doctors, medicine colleagues must know more about that to be able to treat better their patients. Well, and so here's a final message for us to choose between junk food that causes the leaky gut, that phenomena, or the healthy foods. Okay, so I tried to finish, and I'm here to answer your questions.
Okay, thank you, João, very much for this so interesting and fascinating topic. And I have lots of thoughts in my brain. And I remember, because as I was younger, a bit allergic, and at that time it started that the scientific research lead an eye on the functions of the guts and all this system, but that it is so far going concerning inflammation. This is really, really interesting. And guys, if you want, I would like to open the debate and questionings. And there was a question in the chat in Portuguese. I'm sorry, I couldn't really answer. Yeah, try, maybe you ask it in German and in English.
Okay. I would like to know if you give this this lesson in Portuguese too, because for me it's sometimes difficult to understand the sense what you are saying, because my English is not that much. And another question is, I have now I make a test about my health, or because I have some trouble with the foods that I consume. And then I have a gluten, lactose, amêndoas, and soya, I don't know in English, soya, and things like this. How can we eat better? What can you recommend us to eat? Which way you must to take to protect us about this inflammation?
Well, at first, we recommend that everybody, when they have some health problems, to eat eat food without gluten, gluten-free, and casein-free. In Brazil, they are saying lactose-free, but the problem is not the lactose only. Casein is the protein of the milk. It is much more inflammable than lactose. People in Brazil only know about lactose. They are consuming milk without lactose, and they think that it's okay, but it's not. So we must avoid any food with gluten and any food with casein, milk and dairies. Other recommendations to keep free from soy, corn, and from sugar. Sugar is not a so strong toxin, but it can cause dysbiosis, the growing of pathogenic bacteria, and so indirectly it can cause many health problems. And as I'm showing here, no industrial foods. Every industrialized food has conservants, acidulants, colorations, and many other chemical things, synthetic things, that it can cause that phenomena that I called there, the leaky guts, the alteration of the gut permeability is altered by this industrial food. So we recommend organic and anti-inflammatory foods. What are the anti-inflammatory foods? Vegetables, legumes, fruits. Meat, it depends on the person. There are people that can eat meat, and there are others that should avoid. And practice lifestyle medicine. What is that? Everybody should do, like a priority, exercises. At least 3 or 4 times per week. Make exercise until they, how should I say, until suar. And have a social, meaningful relations. Our relationships are very important. Rich social relations, and have a balanced emotional life, a healthy emotional life. Our emotions can have a great influence on our intestines. In our guts, have a great influence in our emotions. So when a person has some health problem, I recommend that she have a consultation with our nutritionist, professional specialized in food. These are our general orientation, but it's good to have a more specific orientation about the foods. Some people have. Let me only finish this idea. Some people start with a gluten or casein problem causing intestinal gut permeability. And after that, when the tight junctions are opened, sometimes non-digested food may enter the blood circulation, and even a normal food like me, I discovered that rice for me is not good, and I am Japanese. I ate rice all the days of my life, and I discovered now that rice is not good for me. Maybe because of dysbiosis, or maybe because of leaky guts caused by gluten or casein free. Because after the tight junction is opened, the gut is permeable. A non-digested food may enter the blood circulation, and it may be considered inflammatory substance, and our immune system attacks that food, and the person may begin to have another allergies, another intolerances to foods that shouldn't be okay for the person. Okay, I hope I was clear, and I am having the same problem of you. I am Brazilian, my English is not so good, and I'm trying to explain in English.
Hi, I have a question.
I understand everything, but I don't know what it means, you know? What you say is perfect. Don't worry about this. Sorry.
So,
Sorry,
I have a question.
was it okay?
Hi, Yamasita is Magali. Thank you for
Hi,
your
Magali.
presentation. Hello. Your English is really good, huh? You explained very
Not so good, thank you.
So I have a question about caffeine. What do you think about caffeine? And another thing is chocolate. What do you think about those two substances? No?
Well, about caffeine, there are some people that have a deficiency in an enzymatic system in their fígado. How do I say fígado?
Liver. Liver.
His liver, yeah. The detoxifying system of the liver may be not able to detoxify caffeine, and that's why some people have many problems with caffeine. So these people that has this enzymatic difficulty, they should avoid caffeine. And, but there are other people that don't have this enzymatic problem, and they should avoid everything that is in excess. I can have caffeine, but we must not exaggerate. Everything that activates much a system, and caffeine activates our sympathetic system, is activating, is getting us, is making us too excited. When we are too excited, the other side of the parasympathetic system may be being not respected. So we must respect and feel what is our needs, what the body is asking for, what food is it asking. Is it our body is asking to relax, to sleep? Maybe we take some caffeine to force our body to do what it's not proper for that moment. Okay, and chocolate, if it has much sugar, I don't recommend. If it has more cacao and low sugar, it's more appropriate for health. Okay, Magali.
Okay,
I have a
thank you.
I have a suggestion to Magali.
Okay, let's hear the suggestion.
Yeah, just take a chocolate with a lot of cacao without milk, because the milk is not. But if you want, I can send you once from here. Swiss chocolate. No, just a joke.
Thank you.
Well,
maybe you come to Brazil and you bring some with you.
You live in Foz?
Yes, I live in Foz. So you came and you bring some chocolate. What do you think about that?
I will be there in November. You must wait along. I will bring you.
Thank you.
Yamasita.
okay.
May I? Yamasita.
Okay.
About your recommendations, it's very interesting, and I know something about it. But what makes me feel sad is because here in Brazil, most of these recommendations and most of the others recommendations are very expensive to buy the special food with low or no sugar, with some I don't remember what you write down in your slides, but others recommendations. It's very difficult for us, even here in Foz, but in other places in Brazil. You know about it, right, Yamasita? Our difficult knowing groups of food. You put it sugar-free, gluten-free. It's very expensive. And I don't know how to have the solution, but it's my point of view. And my real question for you is, I would like to know a little more about the corn-free. You wrote down corn-free. I didn't understand that. So this is my question, and my point of view is about our access and difficult, here in Brazil to all of these recommendations. You know that, right, Yamasita?
Yeah, I understood.
Yes.
Corn free
Sorry
because
for very short interruption. I'm so sorry about, because I would like to, these questions are also interesting, but I really would like, because we still have 15 minutes, to get a little bit the link to conscientiology, not only to the nutrition problem, but I think it would be really, really interesting if we could have the link. So what could help us in conscientiology to go further with all this knowledge about inflammation, toxins, and that? This would be really interesting if we get the link for that. Thanks.
Okay, just answering this question, I think the corn-free is because corn is a genetically modified food, and it has some substance that can be allergenic for many people. And I think about the question about its costs, I think we must create a culture, and we are creating it now with this lecture. We must talk to more people to recommend these foods, and to give more value to the commerce that is over these foods, because I think it's expensive because they have their difficulties to have these products in their shops. If more people are consuming these foods, it will be easier along the time to acquire these products. And so in Iguaçu Falls, there are some shops, very few shops, that they have products without gluten, without casein. And I think in Europe, in the United States, it's getting more easier to buy these foods, and as much more people consume and buy these products, they will be along the time more free, more cheap. So let's try another questions.
No, seems that she said some. I don't know who was there talking about, because I'm in a small screen here. But someone talked about what that theme has to do with multidimensionality. What's the bridge? And I can tell something, my experience about. I changed my way of eating. And I start to do that, not gluten-free, casein-free, all these things, no industrial food. So, and I could see myself like all the benefits, for energetic benefits, also I think more experience, astrophysical experience. I feel more like, I feel that I can do easily. No, I can also think better about things, and I saw in my experience that helped me a lot with all the tasks I have as a volunteer, and thinking about the work we have to do in conscientiology from now on. No, from we usually work, I think here, at least in my experience, I work a lot because we have lots of volunteer, and then we have also the meetings to attend, and we have always tertulia and things to go, and discussions we do here. So it's a lot of time that we spend working. And when I changed my way of eating, I improved a lot in many things. So I think that is what I want to tell about in my experience. Now, I hope it helped.
Yeah, for me, when I knew these informations some years ago, it was very shocking for me to remember that some colleagues a very friend of mine, a very good volunteer. He had a psychotic crisis. He became psychotic. He went away. He had to go away. And when I knew this information, it's very shocking for me because I thought if I had this information some years ago, maybe I could have helped that guy, a friend of mine. Now I don't know where he is, and maybe is a lost case. And many other persons near me, they may have had not so severe diseases, but I see that many emotional problems, many parapsychical difficulties may have a reason in this inflammation that I am saying here. A very friend of mine, like an example, has been having some emotional problem during many years, many years, and the cause was the food. And many people fight against these problems, and they don't know any information about that because their doctors don't know also, and the person continues having those difficulties. That is not an extra physical problem, is not emotional problem, is a nutrition problem. So I think we live in a physical dimension. We have a physical body. This physical body, it reflects in our holosomatic state. It reflects in our energies, in our psychosoma, in our mental soma. If you are going to practice any assistance, if you are inflamed, if you have many inflammation, many free radicals, that is the result of the inflammation, how can the assistant make some help for other people? And I think the opposite also. If you know that your patient, the assisted person, has much inflammation, has much free radicals, you can have energies that are anti-inflammatory energies. If you are calm, peaceful, you have more anti-inflammatory energies, and your energies can disinflammate and can have an anti-inflammatory effect on the assisted person. So I think this is the connection that we can do with the holosomatic health, and relating also to intrusion or helpers. If we have this inflammation, we have an open door to intrusion. If the person is more anti-inflamed, the person is more prepared to be desperto, to desperticity. So this is the relation.
Hello, João.
Okay.
Here's Melanie. Thank you a lot for the very interesting presentation. It's so good to get this clarification from a professional doctor to hear this, because if you are on social media, you hear lots of stories of people. You may not eat this food, you only have to eat broccoli for a year to, inflammation, this and that. A lot of very silly things going around, so it's very interesting to listen to you. One question I have regarding inflammation is that it can have so many symptoms, but also symptoms that can be caused by something else. It's maybe a very stupid question, but is there any test or any procedure to see, okay, like for me as a fact check, am I inflamed? Or can I go to the doctor and say, okay, I want a test, blood test, whatever test, or like from the guts, something that can show me, okay, my body is inflamed and maybe to what degree, you know? Or is there any such a thing that's possible for me to check what's going on? Because, okay, I might have a little stomach ache and I get paranoid, you know? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so inflamed. I'm going to get cancer. I'm going to, you know, get Alzheimer when, you know, it's not a problem. So how can I really, in reality, check what is going on and how severe is the case?
Yes. Hi, Melanie. Thank you for being there. Yes, there are many biomarkers, many exams that can be tested. But if you are interested in investigating these issues, you must look for an integrative doctor, integrative medicine doctor, or a functional doctor. If you live in Brazil, here functional medicine is known like orthomolecular medicine. In the United States, they are calling more functional medicine. The integrative medicine integrates functional medicine and other knowledge also. And there are many exams that can be tested, and it can be tested also the causes of the inflammation. For example, heavy metals, toxic metals, they disturb the physiology and cause the penetration of bacteria, and they disturb the immune system. The food allergies must be tested also. There are some exams that you can do. In the United States, you can do some exams in the Great Plains Laboratory. It's a very good laboratory and is attending Brazil also. Who is from Brazil, who lives in Brazil, may do these exams also, because in our country, Brazil, the exams that test food allergies, they are not trustable. They can give a negative result, and a person has some kind of intolerance to that food, and the person thinks that has no allergy to that food, continues eating that food, and continues sick. And when the person takes out that kind of food, the person feels better, even with the results being negative. So, conclusion, the person had problems with that food. So we don't recommend these exams in Brazil. The laboratory Great Plains is more trustable. I don't have any reason to recommend, a personal reason to recommend, but I think they're more trustable. Okay, is it clear, Melanie?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm located in Europe, Finland, so I need to do my research here where to get it, or if there is something like that here.
Okay, I think in Europe and in the United States, the doctors are more advanced than about 10 years more ahead of us in relation to this knowledge. So, but I think you must look for an integrative doctor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Integrative.
Any more questions?
Hello, Yamasita.
Hello.
Hey, I have a question. I would like to know what kind of exercise do you recommend to achieve a good health?
Well, I recommend two kinds of exercise. One aerobic, that the person can stimulate his heart, his blood circulation until sudorese, how do I say it? Suar. Until sweat. About 3 or 5 times a week, and also a more slow exercise. I practice Tai Chi Chuan, there is Lian Kun, or another kind of meditation that to bring more peace to mind, a more parasympathetic state to his mind, his body. Like Pilates is also good. So I think both are necessary. An aerobic exercise and a more slow exercise. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah, it is clear. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So maybe we can have a kind of resume with the Latin speech, which means in corpus sana, mens sana. If you translate it, it sounds like in a healthy body, you have a healthy brain. So it was very, very enriching to hear your speech. Thanks a lot, João. I would like to do an energy work with you guys. Some 10 minutes are left. So I would like to do the basic mobilization of energies and exteriorization and absorption of energies.
Okay.
So please turn off the lights if you need it and sit down in a comfortable position. Relax your body, your arms, your feet. Take some deep breath to get calm. Inhale through your nose, slowly exhale. Repeat it for 3 or 4 times. And then we start to accumulate the energies on the top of the head. Feel the energy. And bring the gathered amount of energies through your head, down throughout your body, your arms, your trunk, your legs, to the feet. Once you reach the feet, bring the whole quantity of these energies back to the head, through the legs, your body, and your arms, to the top of the head. Repeat the circuit from head to the feet, and from the feet back to the head. Do this movement in your own pace and be concentrated. Don't worry if you lose the rhythm of the movements. Restart on the top of the head and enjoy your work with the energies. Feel your energosoma and the chakras. Are there any blockages? Little by little, accelerate the speed of your energetic movements. Push the energies faster through your body. Don't lose the quantity. It's your willpower leading the energies. Be focused. Now increase the speed of your energetic movements until you reach the vibrational state. Put your focus on the vibrational state and try to reach a strong vibrational state. Little by little, reduce the speed of the movement until you can stop it. And start to exteriorize your energies into the room, through your energosoma and through all your chakras, in all directions. Be concentrated and feel the field. Exteriorize in pulses or in waves, as much as you can. Observe your thoughts. And little by little, reduce the speed of this movement until you can stop it. Now, absorb the energies of the room or of the field we installed together with the helpers. Absorb the energies throughout your energosoma and all your chakras. Absorb as much energies as you can and stay focused. Any ideas coming? Any thoughts? Take mental notes. Now, return back to coincidence. Please come back. Move your legs, your fingers, your arms. Open the eyes. Everyone, okay? Give me a sign, please. Okay. Would you like to share some perceptions, your experience? How was the exercise? Any insights? Any ideas? Okay.
Okay.
So thanks a lot to you, João, for your very interesting and informative and brilliant speech. It's great to have such a lot of ideas in our brains and to reflect and to think about. And thanks to all of you guys for your participation, and thanks for the organization team, Melanie and Paulo. Yeah, and have a nice Sunday evening. See you next time. Thank you.
Hey, Christel.
Thank you.
Thank
you all, guys.
Thank you. We'd like to thank you, Christel, for the great moderation, and many thanks to Yamasita for bringing such a relevant topic to the bridge. And I also would like to remind you guys, I sent a survey in the bridge mail, and if you have time to ask this survey, it would be great. And our next bridge will be on 21st of May. And also, I think Melanie would like to talk to you briefly. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, hello guys. Just shortly, well, thanks also from my side, João, and for everyone participating. It's great that we have every time so many interested people. Regarding some organizational situations, yeah, Paulo asked regarding the survey, when would be the best time for the bridge to happen on Sundays, because we have this big time zone gap. So for people in Brazil, it might be too early if we have it earlier, but for us, it might be too late here in Europe. So Paulo sent this survey to everyone in the bridge group. So if you could just indicate the best time for you when the bridge meeting could be, so we might change it for a few hours so that the maximum amount of people can participate. The other thing is that, as you know, these meetings are recorded, and we don't want to let these interesting conversations and presentations go to waste. So I have started editing all the recordings that we have with the bridge so far, and the idea is to upload these videos in edited form on a YouTube channel in the ISIC YouTube channel. So the issue at hand is that, especially in the first the bridge meetings, many people shared very personal things in these meetings. So the question is how you guys would like to have these videos published, because there are some sensitive pieces of information in these recordings, and we of course always can edit them out afterwards, but in general terms, sometimes we share very intimate experiences with each other, of course in this meeting because we're among each other. But it's another question to publish a video on a YouTube channel publicly. So the question is how you guys, what you think about it? How would you prefer that we publish the videos to make it accessible? Should we only make it like the videos private, that only someone who has a link to it can access it? Should we have them unlisted, for example, so you can only find them in the channel if you know where it is? Or have them public to really that everyone interested on the whole globe can access the videos and listen to them. So this is the issue that Paul and me are thinking about right now, because the very first bridge meeting is completely finished in editing. It's ready to be published, but there, for example, are some sensitive informations that not everyone might want to have in the outside world freely on YouTube. So we can still send out a survey also to the whole group to answer the preferences you have. Or we can make it on an individual basis where you guys assess the videos, which will be very time consuming. Or if you have any other more easy idea how to deal with this, then please, by all means, let us know. Because we want to handle this very carefully. So yeah, that was it. Thanks a lot. If there are any comments, you're welcome now to say it, or also per email. And I think Paul and me will send a survey to see what are the opinions.
Also, my opinion, I think you can public. For me, I think more people can know about our information, better for everyone. It's for every one of us. For me, it's okay. May I send you an email, or it's okay?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
It's
Yad.
okay. You are welcome.
Okay, so if there are no other comments on this, I mean, if you have any thoughts, please by all means contact us, or then please react to the survey in any case, so we can make a informed decision with everyone involved of the group. So thanks a lot, guys. And now, thanks to João, we will all be very healthy and can take care of ourselves. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.